I had a YouTube channel where I used to publish videos. Um, they were scattered about different topics that I felt concerning. But recently, I renamed it to Survival Dictionary, and because I wanted to put down the risks that we as a society and as individuals face. There are many things people need to observe in a connected manner. So that's why I thought we'll think of survival and let people also know as much as possible about survival. Hence the name Survival Dictionary.
What do you want them to know about survival?
See, there are so many risks. If you have, for example, if there is a wildfire in your area and suddenly you are facing the threat of your house being burned down, um, what can we do? Or if the temperature outside is like it was yesterday in Varanasi, that it reached um, 36, but it felt like 46 because of the humidity. And if you're feeling very uncomfortable, what can you do so that you survive? Even in the last month in Bihar, hundreds of children were admitted to hospitals. They were rushed to hospitals, even from schools. So, people, if they have to face such challenges, there are methods, there should be ways, and there should be tips that could save a life, even from a flood, even from extreme rain, um, and whatnot. There are so many risks. Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about.
That's interesting because today we are bombed with uh, news about climate change, and we are witnessing a lot of abnormal behavior in our climate. And yes, it is extremely important for us to know. Um, if not the way out, we are seeing many solutions being proposed, which we are calling it as greenwashing. But yes, it's extremely important for us to know about how we can, at least, if not as a society as a whole, at least a small group of us, how can we find solutions that are in our reach and we can actually train ourselves. So, I want to ask you, what is the most important thing that we have to focus on when it comes to survival?
Yeah. Before I tell you about the most important thing to read for survival, of course, I'll go there. The solutions that you see being spoken in the media or being proposed by researchers are, a, are on a scale that's much bigger. Like they want to reduce carbon dioxide emissions to keep the earth cool. Okay, so they introduce solar panels or um, go to renewables, reduce, deal with agriculture, all this. Now, what I do not see people talking about is what they themselves can do.
True.
Um, I want to focus at that scale. Like, it's not a solution that will um, phase out global warming or stop us from having a hurricane. That's not what I want to talk about. For that, there are so many discussions. But what I want to see is how uh, sooner or later or already and throughout, people have been facing challenges. And many who do not know how to survive when such challenges come have already perished in them. So um, I don't see much content about that. That is what I want to focus on. You, of course, see certain kinds of videos like prepping and all, but prepping is like stocking food. I don't want to go there. It's not like you suddenly have a Swiss Army knife and that will save you. Um, it could, but that's simply thinking of all the commodities that you can hoard. Hoarding is, I don't think, is a sustainable way or even a long-term solution. Even in the, I'm not talking about hundreds of years, even for like 10, 15 days or 100 days out, it'll become harder and harder and harder to survive. Whatever we have hoarded will all be gone. So that's not what I want, where I want to go. What I want to focus on is more about individual and the collective, how they can handle the threat that comes to them. I'm not going to say that we will solve that from coming it in the first place, and I'm also not going to tell them to hoard things because both are pointless. Um, Solutions may work, but the way world is going, most probably it hasn't till now. We need cautious optimism there. Now, uh, coming to your actual question, what's the most important um, quality that a person needs to survive? This can be more seen as a generic quality which helps a person in all dimensions of life. Like the person has to be in perfect present tense, has to try as close as possible to keep his mind in that tense. So if a person is present there, for example, even if there's whatever be the scenario where you have to survive, you have to be there, observe what's around you, not pick up something from your memory. You might know that um, the moment you get into past tense or future tense, your chances of survival will decrease. See, when your house is on fire, somebody thinks, okay, and say you are in a remote village, you are thinking, the first thing you're thinking is you have to call for fire service, you have to call your friends or somebody who might come to help you.
Mm.
Now, your house is on fire, you suddenly rush out of the home. But in a moment, you realize you have not picked up your phone. Now, you know that you cannot call anybody because you haven't picked up your phone. It's already on fire. Um, Somebody who thinks of the future, like, I'll have to call my friend, so I need my phone. So he goes back and tries to pick it up.
Mm.
But somebody who thinks of present tense, right now, things are fine with me. Let me move out, move as far as possible, so that when the surrounding area is lit, is burnt, still I might not be compromised. Is a very challenging decision to make. So he has to focus on the present moment at that particular moment, see how it's burnt, see where his mobile phone is, and that present tense will give his awareness of what he can do or what he can't do.
Okay. So you're talking about awareness. So there are two things: awareness of our surroundings and awareness of the self. So which one are you talking about right now?
I'm talking about, uh, see, these are not two different things. Like
Mm.
awareness of the surroundings, awareness of the self. When you try to be aware of yourself, your senses become sharper. When your senses become sharper, you are more aware of your surroundings.
How to do that? Is it through meditation that you become aware of the self, become silent, and then your senses? Because awareness of the self, generally, the way we talk about it is where you are in complete silence. You try to shut off your senses, and then you try to uh, understand the self or the self awareness, whatever that is. So, but here it's a different scenario where you have to activate your senses, but you have to control the mind or be in that perfect present tense. It's also like a meditative state, but you're not silent here. Or in other words, you're not trying to shut off your senses. You're trying to make it more alert. You're trying to be alert and present. So these are actually this is a different type of scenario which we don't experience because we don't see that kind of threat. Let's say there's a lion or something, so I have to. There's that mode that we get into. That's not something that we have been.
Response.
Yeah, that's not something that we in this time. It's something that we don't experience or we have lost practice of. So what does this look like?
So, at a surface level, the minimum basic external things that you can do is one thing. Another thing is um, how to polish yourself as much as possible to be aware of everything, be it self, be it surrounding, that state of awareness, how to stay there. So awareness can um, be done with a very simple trick. You don't need meditation. You don't need any fancy stuff for that. So, what's the most important life force? What ensures that you are alive? If I ask you, are you alive? How do you know you are alive? What do you check?
My breath.
Yeah. If you're breathing, you're alive. So if a person tries to see if he is alive or not, his awareness increases. Because that is the most important thing
Mm,
for anybody. Am I
mm,
alive or am I dead? How
mm,
do I know? Am I breathing or not?
mm,
Oh, how am I breathing? Is the air only going so much, or is it going in within? If it's going within, till where is it going?
mm.
Can I feel my lungs expanding? Okay, it went inside. Have I turned into a balloon? Am I breathing out? That alertness towards your aliveness will bring about awareness.
Mm. So what you're saying is, if I've got it right, you have to observe how you're breathing.
If you are breathing or not,
Okay. Okay. So you're saying that will increase my awareness.
yes,
That will make me more alert.
yes.
Okay.
You are breathing unconsciously most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Only when I ask, when you check back, when you check, oh, you know that you are breathing. But otherwise, your mind is lost somewhere else. You're not in the moment. The breath is happening in the moment. See, if I ask you to observe your breath, you will not start observing yesterday's breath, or you will not start speculating about tomorrow's breath.
Mm,
That's one of the most present tense things. But
mm,
if I tell you to hear something, you might hear something that was said yesterday or 10 years ago.
mm,
Something you see, something you would have seen much before. All that can happen.
mm,
But breath is so powerful because it's so simple.
mm. You're right. Yeah, and we can also so if you ask me how my food is being digested, see that is also happening in the now, but I don't have the power to see what is happening. So breath is something that okay, my heartbeat is also a little difficult. I might have to first place my hand and see if the heart is really beating. But breathing, I guess it's happening. So yeah, I think it's a great way to stick to the present tense, and it's also like we would have experienced when we lose the track, when we are like slightly disturbed, we try to take a deep sigh, and then huh, that's what we do.
Yeah. And there are many things that you can do as precautions and practices on the surface level, like I was telling. Um, like use less electronics. Mm, don't let your mind be captured in so many things that can capture your mind today. Today we have an economy built such a way that businesses that can capture people's minds are the most profitable ones. So the mm, smartphone OS that people would spend the most time on is the most successful OS. Mm, Otherwise, why did people give up like using maybe landlines?
Mm,
Because it did not capture so much of their mind. Mind gets fascinated about all of these things, and that fascination is has been helpful mm, evolutionarily for the human being. But at the same time, mm, the mind being lost in it will decrease the time you spend with yourself. So, if you are watching a movie, you are not spending time with yourself. Even if you're sitting alone with doors closed, you're not spending time with yourself. Even if you have a radio, you're not spending time with yourself.
yeah,
Even if you are dreaming about somebody, you're not spending time about yourself. And if you're thinking about the future, you're not spending time with yourself. Actually, spending with time with yourself is seeing what yourself is. And what yourself is you being alive. And that's your breath.